this time, I'd like to call the Village of Midlothian Board meeting for December 10th, 2014 to order. Roll call.
Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Trustee Kilby. And Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Mosco.
Here.
No.
No. Mayor Radek.
Here.
Okay.
We have a quorum. Please stand for the pledge. After the pledge, please stand standing for a moment of silence for our veterans. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, if there's anyone from any of the municipal commissions or local organizations in attendance, if you'd like to stand and state your name.
Chuck Hillier, Director of Emergency Management.
George Golden, VFW 2580, American Legion 691, Veterans Committee.
Welcome.
Lori Taylor, Historical, Chamber of Commerce Board, and VFW Auxiliary.
Ruben Piscina, Midlothian Veterans and Foreign Wars, and Midlothian American Legion.
Okay. At this time, I would like to open the floor to public comment. This is the time where you can address the board with any public comments you have for the board at this time. Yes.
It's not common for me to stand in here and actually speak and address the board. I certainly have been in attendance, certainly have brought my camera along, and I certainly have published the videos online. I stayed silent Monday's meeting because I wanted time to process what was about to be said, that none of us knew what was going to be said. And after having time and conversation in which somebody asked me the question, who died and left me in charge? I thought about it, and my initial response to this person was, well, the military. That's a no-brainer. You know, every person who was wearing uniform died so I could be in charge and be a citizen. But I have a better answer to you guys. And the people who died and put me in charge are our founding fathers. They are the ones that charged me. They didn't say, Valerie, you're in charge, but they said citizens. So my standing up here tonight, I am taking charge, and I hope that you guys are ready for this challenge. Because here's where I'm at this point. A lot came out at Monday night's meeting. And I started doing some research, and according to the Illinois Municipal Budget Law, for example, it says in section 330/3 from chapter 85, paragraph 803, such budget and appropriation ordinance shall be prepared in tentative form by some person or persons designated by the governing body, and in such tentative form shall be made conveniently available to public inspection for at least 30 days prior to final action thereon. Now I'm stranded because the only copy that I'm aware of any appropriation ordinance version is the one that I requested Monday. That clerk, you were kind enough to go ahead and give me that copy, but it made me start wondering about that 30-day time period. So instead of researching even further on that side, I decided to go a different path, because one of the trustees decided to make claim that there's no jail time, there's nothing, no fraud, no nothing going on here in this village. I found underneath criminal offenses, underneath the criminal code, 720 ILCS 5, Article 33, they have a section called official misconduct. Under this official misconduct, section 33-3, it reads in section A, a public officer or employee or special government agent commits misconduct when, in his official capacity or capacity as a special governing agent, he commits any of the following acts. And I'm only going to cite one line, because the other three I don't think at this point applies for us, but this one line does. And line 1 is intentionally or recklessly fails to perform any mandatory duty as required by law. Now, I can't stand here and say for certain that I just have clear-cut evidence that this law does apply, but make no mistake that the penalty for this is a public officer or employee or special government agent convicted of violating any provisions of this section forfeits his office or employment or position as a special government agent. In addition, he commits a Class 3 felony. A Class 3 felony is punishable by 2 to 5 years imprisonment, and that contradicts what one trustee tried to put on official record Monday. So I am here tonight to announce to you, you all are on probation. What does that mean? I suppose there's no legal definition to it, but as I'm in charge of at least myself, here's some of what I would define this probation to be. Number 1, I will not miss ever again another meeting with this camera. That includes and is not limited to the Park District Board, the School District Board, the library, and you bet this village. Not only that, I will be inspecting every single meeting minute, and I will be auditing it for every period, every comma, every acronym, and every other error that not only have I found in the past, but I will continue to find because I will continue to monitor it. But this time it's a little different with this probation. I'm done being silent. I am guilty of being silent. Not to you, but to them. The public had no idea who I was. You guys did, especially you, Mayor Ryback. So instead of you and I sitting here as we initially did at the beginning of your tenure, I end up getting fired by you. So it is that idea that I'm done reporting to you guys these problems. Instead, I will let the camera do its job, and I will report to the governing bodies of the violations that are happening. Now, if any of you are afraid of this, or if you think it's over the top, then may I suggest you submit your resignation tonight? Because that's not the kind of character that this village needs at this critical of a juncture. And my final comment is this, Mayor Ryback, please, never again slander or libel, I don't know which word it is, but when you comment and reference Harvey and Robbins and all these other communities, and we're not supposed to turn out like them, not only are you slandering them, you make all of us look like idiots because we don't necessarily feel that way, and you do represent us. That's your job. So for you to put on formal record repetitively comparisons to those two villages that are hurting as much as us, and in some ways they're hurting more, and trying to imply that if this board or if our public or if any of us don't do something, we're going to turn out like them, it's over. I don't ever again want to hear any comments, ever again, implying that they are even somehow worse than us, let alone better or any of that. We're all in this together. So I will be spending the next week working on and articulating what this probation means. I will articulate what I'm looking for from the meeting minutes. For example, this whole thing of leaving just last names and no first names, it's over. You will put trustee, for example, Alan Muskell, Gary LaRue, Karen Kreis, because there's juniors, for example, and there's sisters, for example, and there's common last names in this town. So that will be but the only example for tonight that I will share with you. But I assure you, I will come up with a detailed plan. But just know, it ends tonight. It's over. Period, point, and at least for me, it's the end of my discussion with you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I just the other day I let the frustration of the meeting get to me. I wanted to apologize for some of my comments. I stepped over the line. I apologize to all the members, and when I see Don and Jerry and Vince, I'll let them know. As Don suggested, I did start looking at the audit. So again, I apologize for stepping out of line. Fortunately for you people, Sharon only allows me to speak 3 minutes. She got 3 hours of me the other night. So, and I do have a bonus. I think I'm up for a YouTube award. I am a little under the weather, so I will be taking off. And thank you, Don. I don't know if you heard me.
I heard
but
that.
I do apologize.
I think you were probably right.
I did my homework. I did start looking at the audits, so, and they are on the website.
Okay, good.
And he's not kidding, I
If
did
you
it 3 hours.
want to look
the other
at
night.
page 16, it gives you a pretty good view summary of the of every year. You guys have a nice night, okay? Thanks.
Thank
All
you.
right.
George.
George Doden, a couple suggestions I have there. I'm supposed to have a bill out here for the public scrutiny during the meeting. I would like to see them out about 10 minutes before the meeting. So if there's any questions on it, we can ask during the public comments and not interrupt the regular meeting. If they're out here ahead of time, we can have a chance to look at them
The
before.
bills?
Yes,
I had them out here earlier.
they weren't here when I got here.
Kathy, did you
Not
get
they
them?
not here.
I have the bills right
She
here.
took them.
Well, you
I
might
thought
need more than one copy up here, so we
there's
can pass
still
around.
some.
and look
Yeah.
at it.
That was my copy, yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is, on the department report, they used to be read out here at the meetings and everything else, we know what's going on. I kind of like to see those pulled off the consent agenda and read back up here again, so we know what's going on in the departments also.
Okay, thanks.
Kathy Cavaney, Keeler Avenue. I'll segue into the bills since I got them in my hand. I do have a couple questions. I see on here that looks as though a few trustees and employees are getting some reimbursements for what appear to be some, minuscule things, not anything out of the ordinary. But I see that there's one in reimbursement to Officer Pace for $8,079. Just curious what that might be for.
What that is some of the officers, we found out inadvertently, had been not only paying into their pension funds, but they had been also paying into Social Security,
Oh,
that they will never ever be able to claim, so we had to have Paylocity reverse all of them. We had to wait for the Treasury to send us our refunds,
Oh, okay.
and then we refunded the employees the money that should not have been taken out of their check for Social Security.
Okay, very good. Relative to water bills, after Monday's meeting, I had an opportunity to speak with Alan Moskal and Don about what was happening with water bills, because we had been told during prior meetings that our outstanding water bill collection is pretty high. And so I'm wondering, and I realize that some of the outstanding payments are not that old. They're probably like 30 days or maybe 45 days old. They're not that terribly delinquent. However, $250,000 of delinquent water bills is still a sizable amount of money. And I'd like to know what the water department is doing as far as sending out late notices or even sending out shut-off notices. I realize it's winter now and not in every situation we can't shut people's water off, but if we nudge them along with a pink slip and a red slip, something has to give, because their failure to pay the water bill, of course, is impeding on the village's ability to pay bills. So,
I'll have them beef it up a little bit. As far as I know, they do it on a schedule. After so many days, they send the pink, then the red, and like you said, we
well,
look at each
perhaps
case
maybe we
individually.
need to get a little bit more aggressive with that, because $250,000 is way too much. Karen, do you know what the status is of the sign for the corner from Hamilton Partners?
No, I do not, Mayor. Do you know, have you talked to Paul Sheridan to see if the sign will be going up?
No, I know he sent me a proof of it. He hasn't told me. I'll ask where the sign is.
Okay. All right, I'm done. Anybody else want to look at the bills?
Thank you.